Hey, thanks for being here today. Welcome. It's good to have you. I don't know if you like fall as much as I like fall, but it's just always so fun to get into fall. I feel like I love the cooler temperatures, the leaves changing, just, the fun fall sports of football and just, I don't know. It's just a fun change to have fall in the air. Our topic today is not anything fall related, but as you know, I love talking about travel, and it's just so exciting to get to talk about different topics every week. So today's title is Melodies of America, Two Unforgettable Music Travel Experiences. So we get to talk about music and travel and kind of how the two intersect. I don't know if you know this, but previously I worked part-time as a music teacher in an elementary school. And so that was really fun. It was very fun to get to teach elementary school kids all about different music concepts, and we got to do lots of music. And anyway, so music is great. I included a quote by Confucius to start us off. It is, "Music produces a kind of pleasure which human nature cannot do without." I thought that was an awesome quote. And so let's get into it. Can you imagine your life without music? I mean, just think of all the times, like constantly, that we have music and music influences in our lives, whether we're just jamming to our tunes in the car or listening to our workout playlist, browsing the aisles of the grocery store, there's music playing in the background, just hanging out. A lot of times there's music included, singing along with our kids, listening to Christmas music, watching any movie or any show that you watch. There's always a theme song, and then often there's music, kind of special effects in the background. We are just surrounded by song in our world, in our day to day life. And so music is part of everything. And music can transport you to a time and a place. If you hear a song, it can like take you back and you can remember all the details of whatever it was, a previous experience. And I think music is amazing. It's so great. And that quote by Confucius is so true. So, speaking of music, we are going to talk today about two different, similar but different music related itineraries, travel itineraries. So, one is a river cruise through some music cities, and the other one is more of a road trip through some music cities. So, both of them are great and similar, but they each have their own little fun parts. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is music cities on the river, and it's more than one river. So, if you are watching the video, you can see the little map. It starts in Memphis and ends in Nashville, this river cruise, and it travels on the Mississippi, the Ohio, and the Cumberland rivers. So, you can just sail down the river in a trip that blends like this amazing river cruise experience with history and tunes, and just it's pretty great. So let's jump in and I'll kind of talk you through some of the highlights. I'm not doing a day-to-day blow by blow description of everything. I'm just going to kind of pull out some highlights. So Memphis, Tennessee is where this river cruise starts. Memphis, Tennessee is known as the home of the blues. So with this river cruise, it's an 8-day cruise, but you can have a pre-exclusive cruise stay and tour of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley's home, which is called the Guest House at Graceland. So you can stay there and tour it, of course. And it's really, that's a cool, amazing experience just in and of itself. So if you want that, that is an option. But even just starting the river cruise, it begins in Memphis. And so you, of course, Beale Street is the most famous Memphis street. And there's all this authentic blues music on Beale Street, which is the birthplace of blues. Enjoy some wonderful world famous barbecue with smoky, slow cooked ribs, pulled pork sandwiches, all drenched with spicy, smoky sauces. So, as you can imagine, visiting Elvis Presley's home, Graceland, and getting to kind of be immersed in Memphis, this is a great start to the river cruise. Then river cruise ends in Nashville, Tennessee. And Nashville, Tennessee is known as the birthplace of country music. So there are so many fun little places that you get to visit in Nashville. The Ryman Auditorium, the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Patsy Cline Museum, the Johnny Cash Museum. So like it's really the history of country music just like comes alive. In the evening, you get to experience the Grand Ole Opry, which is probably the most famous country music venue that we have. So, pretty amazing options in Nashville. Those are the two big main music related cities and get to soak in lots of music related stuff in both of those places. But I wanted to also highlight a few of the other stops on this river cruise. There's a place called Paducah, Kentucky, which is home to the renowned National Quilt Museum. And this is a big deal. If you are a quilter or know someone who is a quilter, this place is really cool. Another stop is Dover, Tennessee, which is a place that is famous for the Battle of Fort Donelson during the Civil War. And they've got lots of fun memorabilia and museums and things like that. And then another stop on this cruise is Clarksville, Tennessee, which is a bustling tobacco hub from the 19th century, began in the 19th century and was really huge back then. And they also, Clarksville is really amazing with all of the architecture that they have and just kind of the old buildings and the architecture that they have there. Those are all three kind of historical and really well preserved types of places. And so as you float on these rivers, you get to stop at all these great little places along the way. So the river cruise, it also has a couple of days of just sailing down the river and getting to enjoy all of the amenities and fun things on board. There are nightly musical performances, which of course are themed with the blues and the country and just all of the great music from the South. Entertainment, interesting cultural lectures, all kinds of great things. And of course, the food, from mouthwatering Creole cuisine to finger-licking Southern barbecue, like so many great options for food and entertainment, even while you are on board. Okay, and why would you choose this cruise? Well, if you want to explore multiple iconic music cities in one relaxing trip, which is in this such a seamless way, and blending comfort and culture as you sail through the melodies of America. How cool it'll sound when you tell your friends that you cruised through Southern music history. That's kind of fun. So that is the cruise, the river cruise, just in a little nutshell. The next one that we are going to talk about is, I've titled it the Nashville to New Orleans Music Trail. So this one is the guided tour. And so you do have a lot of guided stuff and included stuff, and then you also have some free time. Does hitting the open road and diving deep into music's roots sound like your ideal adventure? Then this Tennessee Music Trail, the Nashville to New Orleans Music Trail, might be just calling your name. It takes you from New Orleans and jazz-filled music of New Orleans to the honky tonks of Nashville. This one goes a different direction. Let's start with describing Nashville. You begin the trip in Nashville, and you'll get to visit the Country Music Hall of Fame. And Studio B is where Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson, Roy Orbison, and Elvis Presley all recorded. And you also, this is like this really cool experience. You get to meet with a professional sound engineer for your own recording session. Isn't that cool? That is included as part of this trip. So you get to, experience recording your own song, whatever you would like to record, and find out what it takes to create that Nashville sound. You being here in Nashville might develop an uncontrollable urge to buy some cowboy boots, and there are lots of great places to buy them here. Let's talk about Memphis. Memphis, just like in the river cruise, which got to visit both Nashville and Memphis, but the I guess focus is a little bit different with the two of them. This Memphis stop focuses on the Stax Museum of American Soul Music. And so you get to learn the story of stars like Otis Redding and Isaac Hayes. And of course, visit Beale Street again, just like with the river cruise. You get to visit Graceland, just like with the river cruise, which of course was Elvis's former home and final resting place. And then also there is a visit to the National Civil Rights Museum here in Memphis. And that is where Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. And it just gives you some really great history that is both kind of, it's stark and kind of wakes you up and makes you feel maybe a little bit uneasy by listening to the history of Martin Luther King Jr. and his assassination, but it's also very inspirational. So really cool combination there. Okay, now let's talk about New Orleans. So the river cruise that river cruise did not have New Orleans included. There are other river cruises that do have New Orleans included though. So, but this particular one didn't. This trip has New Orleans, and some of the highlights in New Orleans is you join a local expert for a Black Heritage and Jazz tour. You can explore sites like Congo Square, which is the birthplace of jazz, Louis Armstrong Park, and the Treme neighborhood. And of course, go shopping on Bayou Street. Then you also can enjoy live performances on Frenchman Street. You can have a delicious jazz brunch. And another highlight of this trip is that you get to visit a local cooking school to create one of the region's most beloved dishes. So Creole or Cajun, I'm not going to spill the beans on what it is, but then you get to eat the results of your amazing labor. And of course, when you're in New Orleans, you probably will want to enjoy a beignet or two or 10 or 20 or however many you can fit into this little trip. The amazing thing about this land trip is that it's just this really hands-on experience, which is guided by local experts. And you get to have a lot of interaction and some behind the scenes tours and get the opportunity to create both music and food along the way. So really cool, really some amazing, cool options with this trip. And why would you choose this music trip? Well, it's tailor-made for travelers who are craving an authentic, in-depth exploration of America's musical landscapes. And the personalized touches ensure that you will have a unique, like a really kind of intimate experience with your destination, with each destination. And that is what we are all about with Sweet Dreams Wellness Travel. We are all about creating connection. So in this trip, you get the opportunity to, both of these really, the river cruise and the land one, you get the opportunity to connect with music and kind of the history of our country and the history of our country's music. So it's really, really amazing and really cool. If you never knew that there was such a thing as music themed travel experiences, now you know. And I'm happy that we got to like touch on those a little bit and talk about them. Both of them offer a really amazing exploration of America's musical heritage. It's really cool. And let me know if you're interested in something like this, like a music theme or another type of themed type of experience, because there are lots of them. If you are a history buff, I've got so many history options that I could send you, on, from everything from Revolutionary War to the Civil War to just, Black history, to all kinds of amazing types of historical types of places that I could send you, and lots and lots of fun history related stuff. But these music related ones are so cool and so awesome. And that's why I wanted to share them with you, is to just give you a little taste of maybe something that you hadn't heard of before. I also wanted to just mention a Croatia trip. Now, some people may not know, I did talk about it, I think, in my last episode, this Croatia trip, but I just wanted to mention that I've helped put together a group Croatia trip, and it is for anybody who wants to go. I did it along with my local Davis Chamber of Commerce, but it is not just for Chamber of Commerce members. They are invited, but also anybody is welcome to come. So we are going to go to Croatia in April. If you are interested, please let me know. I can get you all the info and all the details. But here is just a few highlights, just some high-level highlights. We are going to visit the 3 most famous and beautiful national parks in Croatia. One is called Plitvice National Park, where we're going to do a boat and train ride and then also do lots of wandering around. Another one is called Peklencia National Park, and we'll be hiking there. And then the third one is Kirka National Park, where we'll also be doing some hiking, and they have these beautiful cliff waterfalls. So we're going to be viewing all three of them have some gorgeous waterfalls and beautiful lakes and just amazing. So we also on this Croatia trip are going to visit the Cliffs Fortress at Split, which is where Game of Thrones, one of the places where Game of Thrones was filmed. We're going to visit Stella Croatica, which is this traditional village. They make they grow olives and you can have some olive oil tastings. They also do a lot of other, grow a lot of other plants and vegetation. And so that's going to be really cool. And then we're going to get to go in and explore a cave called the Varankaha Cave. And we'll have a city tour of Split and another city tour of Troker. But there's also going to be plenty of free time. So pretty much every afternoon, there is going to be free time. Included in this trip are the flights from Salt Lake City on Delta and Delta Partners, centrally located hotels. One of the hotels is right on the beach, so that's really fun. The transportation from place to place. We have 7 breakfasts, 3 lunches, and 3 dinners included, hikes and guided tours, and like I mentioned, plenty of free time to explore on your own. So it's going to be really super fun. It's going to be great. And I would love to give you more details. It says right here on this little slide that I'm looking at, gives you the $39.77 per person for double occupancy, which that is an amazing price to include all of the things that are there. Most of the meals, all of your transportation and your hotels and all of the inclusions that are included. You have to come up with very few other things in addition. It also includes the flights, of course. So it's going to be really fun. I'm going, and we're just trying to get a good group together. It is a limited number. We are only going to be able to take between 30 and 40 people total. So, and if you are a single and you want to go, that would be super great. Come anyway. There is just a single supplement of $450. So that is not much at all. Some single supplements with some trips, it's like double. And this is only $450 more than just the regular price. So with double occupancy. Anyway, thank you so much for coming along with me on the journey today as we talked about music trip and a couple different options if you wanted to do a themed trip in the US or other places, and also to hear a little bit about the Croatia trip. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to talk to you about any travel plans that you may have. So thanks a lot. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I would invite you to like, share, or leave a review. Let's help grow our wellness travel community.